life naturally has great qualities about them. And as we grow and move through life, we develop our ability to make choices and decisions. Based upon the decisions and choices that we make, we experience memories and consequences. And sometimes we develop memories and consequences that we don't want to experience, but we're holding on so tightly, and that creates the inability to let go. So make sure you check out this week's video, because I'll be discussing some of the reasons why it's so important to let go, evaluate your memory, and clear space for what you really want to bring into your life, and not get caught up in that loop where you're constantly repeating the same patterns and thinking about the same things that you don't want to see. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Checking out my channel, Wildlife Coaching Solutions, where I deliver weekly actionable and relevant content to assist you with successfully growing through your challenges. I focus on helping you build confidence, mindset mastery, as well as increasing your productivity in your social, personal, professional life. This week's video, I'm talking about letting go. And I know you may have heard the phrase before or the song Let It Go, but I wanted to focus on this topic because really, until you are able to remove and relieve some of the things that you're holding on to, memories, consequences, pain, hurt, until you're able to release them, you're really blocking or clogging new opportunities from coming forward into your life. Some people may consider this manifestation, law of attraction, but really this is you working in cohesive synergy with your mind and allowing it to know, okay, I'm going to unload a little bit of things so that I can bring forward some things. The mind really does not have the ability to create a complete empty space. The mind is not able to just be completely free of anything. There's always going to be some thoughts, some memories that are flowing through the pathways. And this is why it's so important to pay attention to what you are thinking, what you're bringing into your life, what you're paying attention to, because these are the things that's going to be flowing constantly through your mind. Have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and you just had this thought and you're like, where did this come from? Well, that was something that was flowing throughout your mind, and it just had the opportunity to connect with you and force you to think about it. Our minds are constantly receiving so much information each and every day that it needs a mechanism in order to filter through what we are actually bringing into our mind, holding on to, and storing. And this can be considered the Reticular Activating System, also known as RAS. The Reticular Activating System is located in your mind and has the width of a pencil, but is about 2 inches of length. And what the Reticular Activating System is responsible for, the main function is to be a gatekeeper so that you do not become overloaded and overwhelmed. Now, if you find yourself being overloaded and overwhelmed, it means that you are just allowing everything to come in, and the gatekeeper is being put on a really hard task because you are accepting at the subconscious level that you will receive this information or bring it in because you had a thought in mind that you were already thinking, and you're like, okay, that other thought could come in. It seems very simple, very similar, so why not allow it to come forward? And what it does, it comes into your mind, it takes residency, and you constantly think about these things that you may not want to be thinking about. So knowing that the Reticular Activating System is your gatekeeper, it's great to work in harmony with it. Although it's responsible for involuntary actions that our body takes on, our breathing and things that we're not paying attention to, it's the main gatekeeper for our conscious thoughts. So we want to make sure that we are working in harmony with it. So some of the reasons why it's great to take evaluation and to let go of things, somewhat of a spring cleaning or seasonal cleaning, is because, as I mentioned, the mind really does not have the ability to create an empty space. But once you let go of something that you have been holding on to, you are able to create a new opportunity into your life. That is why you may hear people saying, clean your home, and a tidy home is a clean mind, or a clean mind is connected to a tidy home. Because when you have a whole bunch of clutter around you and waste and junk around you, you become overwhelmed. And a lot of people may not think so and say, well, I could work in this type of situation, and yes, you could work in that situation, but you'll be able to excel and work even better knowing that your mind is completely free and you are able to now allow some new information to pass through you in your consciousness because it's not clogged. It's really your memories that drive you forward or keep you still. You know, when you're in hurt and when you're in pain and when you're suffering and thinking about something that has happened to you that has been really painful, it's really associated to a painful thought that you constantly replay in your mind or think about, and it doesn't allow you to move forward. You get stuck in that loop and you're really just going around in circles and circles until you find a way to break that cycle and start thinking about new and different patterns that are going to actually be beneficial in moving you forward. But that doesn't happen unless you make the decision to make a decision and make a choice about how you're going to be able to reflect and move forward. Although a situation has happened to you that may have been very hurtful, how do you choose to move forward from that, knowing that your mind is waiting on you to instill new memories? And I wanted to make a point that sometimes in life you may be going through a situation and then something else happens and then another situation happens and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? It's happening in 3s, it's happening in 6s, it's happening in 9s, but it's happening over and over again. And that goes back to the point where I mentioned that your mind is now, a lot of people say your mind is a magnet, but your mind is now looking for similar situations like that it can hold on to so it can feel very comfortable. And I will make another video about that when it comes to self-sabotage and what is actually really happening in the mind when you decide to self-sabotage. And I do say decide because it is a decision, and I hold myself accountable because I have been in situations where I have self-sabotage, but it wasn't until I realized what was really happening at the subconscious level that was able to make that shift in my life. At times we can be really hard on ourselves when we make the decision to make changes in our lives because we're experiencing patterns that we don't want to anymore. And I would just say, although you're letting go, be patient with yourself because it did take you a lot of time to accumulate those thoughts and connect them all together. But it will take a lot of time for you to, it will take some time for you to break those patterns. But while you're doing it, you need to be patient with yourself because things are maybe coming at you that you've never dealt with before. And then if you go ahead and put pressure on yourself and beat up yourself, then you are actually just creating a new memory or a new feeling about yourself. And then this will create the opportunity for other thoughts to latch onto it. And as I mentioned in one of my previous videos about self-doubt, that is when self-doubt never comes by itself. It comes with self-doubt, the feeling of not being good enough, and all of these thoughts come together, and that's when they just take a pattern in your mind and just allow you to constantly repeat a cycle. So being patient with yourself is very important because letting go is a process of releasing. And if you have ever cleaned your home and really decluttered it, there may be times where you picked up an item and you said, oh, I want to hold on to it, but you know you have no real need for it anymore, but you still want to hold on to it. It's very similar when you are releasing thoughts. And because, as I mentioned with the Reticular Activating System, that is working on blocking or not allowing some negative thoughts to move into your life or thoughts that you don't want to happen to move into your life. Although they may be coming at you, you have to train your mind to say, okay, this thought is not something that I want to accept, or I will look at it where it can actually be placed in my life and then release it and let go of it so that newness can enter into your life. I know some people may not like cleaning or procrastinate about it, but every single time that you clean, you are creating space. You are letting go and removing something that's in your physical life or in your mental internal life. And you create the space now for more to come in. And I keep mentioning this thought because when we are so consumed with the thought of consuming, accumulating, and bringing more into our lives, we forget that there's a point of where we need to actually release to create this balance that we're actually looking for, or this harmony that we're actually looking for in our lives. So every single time that you pick up some junk around the house, something that you no longer need, and you let it go and you remove it from your life, you are actually creating more space. But if you want to look at it in a bigger context, when you make a major shift in your life, life, you're creating a space for more things to happen. For example, if you are someone who wants to pursue a new hobby in your life, but you find yourself unmotivated to even move forward with looking up the hobby, maybe seeing what times you can go to that event so that you can be exposed to what you really say you want to do, then you're blocking it from happening because it's just a thought, and it won't be able to take action because you have not created the space in your life yet for it to take action. So just to touch on the point that I just made, in a world where it's constantly telling you to accumulate things, consume, there's so many things on media to tell you to buy, consume. I would just like to make a public announcement and say, take the time to release, to let go of some things, because once you do, then you might see what you already have, and then you realize it was something that you were considering buying or wanted, but when you clean, you actually find some hidden things in your life that you didn't know were there because you just store them away. And that's just like in the mind, you just store away information, thoughts, memories, and then when a time comes, you pull them forward. But in order to enhance the amount of good feeling thoughts that you're having and move away from the self-sabotaging behavior, you want to pay attention to what you are accumulating, what information you're allowing to come in, and that is so important to the quality of your life. There's a universal law of prosperity that speaks about life harboring a vacuum, and this is about that if you want more good in your life, then you have to expect it. And expecting it could be really difficult when you see so many negative things happening in your life. I know that when I was moving through my challenges, there was negative and unexpected things in my life that were happening, and it really made me feel like what is going on and not really good about myself. But I started to really focus on shifting my thoughts, and I'm not just saying, okay, thinking positive thoughts all the time, but thinking positively about what can happen and going out and taking action towards it and showing life that, hey, I'm expecting great things to happen in my life, and because I expect them to happen, I'm gonna make a move for it to happen. This is when we speak about taking risk in life. No risk, no reward. And that's the way that life works. If you don't want to make the risk to apply for a new position, or you don't want to make the risk to speak to new people in your life, or you don't want to make the risk to build your confidence and feel great about yourself and do something that's going to induce a feeling about you building your confidence, then it's more than likely that you won't get to experience these things, because life is a partnership. Working and trusting in life and knowing what risk to take, and sometimes not knowing which risk to take until you already taken it. But life requires you to take action in order to let it know that, yes, I'm here to live it, I'm here to be here, and I'm gonna make some movement, and I believe that you will help support me in the process. So if you want to see more of something in your life, take action towards it, whatever that may be. Start small, and then eventually you can grow into doing more or feeling more comfortable to take risk. And you're never going to really feel that comfortable all the time, but it's about an action. So these are some of the reasons why letting go is so important, but understanding it from a neurological point, or the mindset that the reticular activating system is working to be a gatekeeper. But if you are not paying attention to it and being conscious, some things may seep into it, and there comes a point where you need to reevaluate what you are thinking about, what's in your life, and what you can let go of, so you can create the space for those good opportunities, feelings to manifest into your life. And I think that's what we are all really looking for, to experience the goodness out of life, and not being afraid to experience some downs at time as well. As we all know, that's a part of life as well, and it helps us to grow successfully through our challenges. So I hope this video was helpful for anyone who's experiencing a challenging defining moment. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can see more of these videos. And if there is any kind of video that you are interested in seeing, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll make sure to include that in the series of videos that I'm sharing with you. So I will check in with you later, and remember to check back next week, where I'll be discussing the topic of